That's better.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, you missed the best 5 minutes of the show right there.
Yes, Mom, they are. And my values are the exact same.
I don't think mine are. Because I feel like you can sit in a room somewhere and learn a bunch of information, but there's only so much stuff that someone could say during, you know, one of those breakout sessions or something when you're at like a lunch and learn or you're at.
Of course, our good friends at Steph's Bookkeeping, great ribbon
Getting distracted and just tell your story.
And we sent them flying.
It did warm it up. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Did it?
did. Mm-hmm.
Warmed?
In my car.
Nice.
Cool.
Welcome in to the Know with Steph and Joe. This is the only show that you get to know Steph and Joe.
Well, I guess I already
how
the
much
cost.
do you really want to know, Steph and Joe?
I already learned the cost of learning something new. Apparently, if you put a aluminum can in your car, even though it's 70 degrees for an hour and 15 minutes, it does get warm.
The inside of it will warm up.
And it does modify the flavor.
Hi,
Mhm.
welcome to thermodynamics.
No, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Next.
That happened.
Audio of the Know with Steph and Joe.
What the hell?
That happened.
You didn't know that?
I didn't think it would get that warm. I don't know.
Thermodynamics.
I thought it was going to be fine.
Nope.
It was in the shade.
Yep. Nope.
And for all of your bookkeeping needs, please reach out to Steph's Bookkeeping.
Good thing we don't do thermodynamics at Steph's Bookkeeping.
Apparently, don't trust me on anything when it comes to
Oh,
refrigerating
God.
anything.
That's right.
What the hell is the show today?
The cost of learning something new.
Oh, perfect.
And the answer to that is warm alcohol.
We learned that we officially are going to start recording our green room conversations because we got into a heated one like the past 10 minutes and nobody knew it.
Right there.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Mom in at 3:03.
Woo. I mean, we
She's home a little under the weather today, so
with some seltzers.
There is a lot going on in the world.
Like
What's
real.
up, buddy? You want to come in?
Hey,
No, come in. Say hi. Say hi. There he is. There he is. Get in there. Get in there.
That's
There he is. Hey,
That's Nico.
Nico?
Yeah, Nico.
Later, Nico.
He's the guy who cleans the toilets around here.
Well, we love you, Nico.
That's right.
What did he say?
Not just the toilet.
Not
Not
just the
just
toilets.
the toilets.
He's been the guy who's done all the construction work around here.
Okay, so I feel like so back
Yep.
on topic. I
Okay.
feel like this topic could either go either for personal use or for business use. There's always a cost associated with learning something new. It might not be a monetary cost, but time. Time is something that has a value. And I know some business owners, especially new entrepreneurs or some micro businesses, don't put an actual true value on their time, which would be associated with the bill rate you would hire somebody to do said task.
So I'm going to say the same thing, but I'm going to associate it to collegiate students
Mhm.
or students out of high school, right? We all have to go through high school. Some of us don't, and therefore we don't get our GED. But after high school, you're then on a path to pay for learning, right?
Yeah.
Through high school, you get your learning for free.
Well,
Your
as a
parents pay for it.
parent, I
You,
pay.
well, your job as a resident,
My
human,
property tax bill would
a
declare
goddamn
that I paid.
it doesn't matter. I am here, and I can tell you, I pay for every student that goes through high school. What I'm saying is, post high school,
It's a choice.
it's a choice. What kind of education do you want to get? So at that point, to me, is where our conversation starts with this episode, right? It's What are you paying to learn? Are you paying to go to college? Are you paying to go to a trade school? Or are you paying to get into a job, a trade, and at 19 years old, you're running a job and they are belittling you on every different measure because you're so green. So you're going to pay while you're getting paid to be there. You're going to pay in your emotional status to learn all these things, right? So it's how do you pay for education, right? Kind of the mindset that the cost of learning something. Well, I can, and this is my wife, Carrie Turner, shout out.
A frustration when I carry.
Yeah. Not Carrie of Carrie. It is Carrie of Carrie. It's not Carrie. But she says everybody pays for education. You pay to go to college, or you go and get a job and you pay through
The School of Hard Knocks.
Frickin' A, Batman. Yes. Like that's literally it, is how do you pay for your education?
Right.
Right? Do you actually learn from your education? What you paid, does that make it worth it? So I always say to people, like, yeah, I could learn a shitload, but so many people are going off to college, but they don't learn shit and they walk away and they still have to go and get into the job. And
well, there's a vast difference between a book smart individual and a street smart individual. Like you could be like the smartest book smart person and be very well educated, gone to the top universities and all of that. But out in general population and dealing with like the quirkiness of society, you're gonna die.
So paying for, how do you, and again, I'm going to reiterate back to the cost of learning, right? How is that cost of learning for that person, that said person, that book smart person? They can go to school, they can go learn all that. How does that benefit them?
I mean, I don't know if it holds as much weight as it once did, but I know that when I was coming out of high school, going into college, like that was the thing. And I'm going to say probably
have the degree,
at least a bachelor's degree. And probably I'm going to say 80% of my graduating class either got the marketing degree or the generic business degree. Like from high school, like our generic graduating class, or the remainder of the team or the remainder of the class went into the military and gained that set of skills. I didn't know a lot of people that went into trades right out of high school, and I didn't.
That was not the norm.
That was just, I mean,
it's shifting.
Yeah, I guess,
yeah.
I mean, but I'm just like, everybody got that generic degree. And your bachelor's degree kind of differentiated you at a point. But now, fast forward, 20 years later.
Good point.
Almost everybody has their bachelor's degree. Just like when I was coming out of high school, everybody had their high school diploma. And the only way to separate yourself was to get the bachelor's degree. Now you have to go down the one-up aisle and get your master's degree in order to differentiate yourself in certain job markets.
Talking to you on that. And don't answer if you don't want to about your eldest son.
Mm-hmm.
But what did he experience?
So what do you mean for college? He went
post high school.
So he did a few semesters of community college and then decided it wasn't really his thing. And now he went out into the job market, got a job, but he has this wavering issue from time to time of he feels like he really wants to shift into a career that he has a better or stronger passion for, and he can't without that degree. And he struggles with the fact that now he's almost 24. And now do I start from day one of college and do that? Or he kind of beats himself up from time to time. If I would have just stuck with it, back out of high school, I would have had that degree in said sector and maybe possibly had a career path in that department or whatever.
Steph's oldest, you know who you are. I'd like you to reach out to me because
Hey, Christine,
because I did not go to college my first round.
Right.
I went my second round, right?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely one who did not understand what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. And so that's kind of what I was getting at was...
I mean, like Rich has told Gavin too that he, like Rich himself, like failed out of college his first 2 years of college because he just
Ditto.
used it
Yep.
as a whatever I'm going to do.
Party scene.
Right. And he didn't
Yep.
take it seriously. I took over or about 8 years to finish my bachelor's degree because I did one class here, 2 classes there, another class here because of life
Which is
and
extended time, right?
Right.
Christine is chiming in, and she mentioned, hi, Christine, that she is having all of her kids do at least 2 years of community college, right? So many people may have heard this story or may not have, but when I met my wife, Carrie,
Mhm.
Big fan of the show, and when I met her, I had just quit my first semester of college. I met her and she goes, I'm not going to date a loser. You need to go back to college.
You could tell you married.
And I went, you're mine. And factual, she said that. She goes, I'm not going to date a loser. You need to go back to college. So I went back to college to do simple classes that I wanted to take, not what my high school counselors.
She didn't date one. She married one.
Hey, did you search that button out before you pulled the joke? You did. That was a good one. Yes.
He had to make sure it wasn't the toilet one.
Yes.
So yeah, when she started dating me, I was going to I started it back into firefighting school, did a bunch of community college, didn't really play out to anything at all, right? But like everything I say to people is, what did you learn? Because I know I went through all those things and I could tell you everything I learned from those classes. Every single class I failed, I could tell you exactly what I learned. And that's truly, to me, what we're trying to get at in this show is how much did you learn, not so much what did you fail at, right? I could tell you every goddamn thing I failed at.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I learned at, right? Yeah, go ahead.
What I would say, I don't have a degree, right? I've done some. I've got a lot of college credits. I probably have enough to have a master's degree, but they're not any one thing, right? So
enough to amount to anything,
right? And so the cost of that for me is twofold. One is the cost of the classes, the debt that to go to college. You paid for that. The other is because at my, I'm 55. So in my era, right, in the 90s, to your point, if you didn't have that bachelor's, right, that bachelor's at that point meant something, right? So the other cost was lower pay. Right. So I came in, not only did I pay for the college, but I didn't finish to get the degree. I also came in and paid for it at lower pay and then had to work the way up. Right. And so I think the cost of learning something new, and Kevin Callback and I have talked about this on the Neighborhood Pulse, is a lot of people want to get into real estate. They're like, oh my gosh, this costs a lot. Yeah, but you would pay $250,000 for a 4-year degree over 4 years. But now that you're this, you think that. So I think there's always a huge cost. And I think it's something that you're never told about. When you're sitting with your counselors in high school, they're not like, listen, great, Steph, you're going to be an accountant. You're going to go to school for 5 years and you're going to be in debt $175,000. And you're like, I'm what? right? So that nobody talks about the cost. They always talk about the benefit of it.
So
I mean, like for me though, like the cost was two-sided. You have the money side of things, but also I was a single parent for a majority of that time that I was going on and off to college.
Mhm.
And that time that I was at school not only took away from my child, but it also took away from me being able to actually go to my money-making job at the time.
totally.
So
What was
to
the
do
cost?
that, it was scary.
Okay, but this is the show, right?
So-
what's the cost
Yep.
of your education, right? And this is kind of what I was getting at with cost of learning on the job or
Yeah.
cost of paying for your education.
I mean, this might be like a horrible thing to say,
Nope.
but
Slang it. I'm in.
because of the years of experience that I had in accounting before I finished my degree,
Uh-huh.
for my last 2 years of college, I didn't purchase or open any textbooks. And I kind of just did the assignments, tests, winged it because of the on-the-job experience I had prior. Because
Effing A cotton.
so
That's my point, though.
I did it backwards.
No, you did it ass forwards.
So like it's just
Sounds like
Did
fun.
you just think about that?
Sounds like fun.
Did you think
so like
about that?
I don't feel like the money that I spent and the time that I spent was necessarily wasted going to college. I felt like it was
okay.
somewhat unnecessary because like I've explained to my staff before who have taken accountant classes
Yeah.
and gone
Yep.
for like those certificates
Yep.
and stuff, you're learning the formal way of doing accounting in a perfect environment where all business owners turn in their receipts, all business owners have a business degree and understand the terminology that you're using and all of these different things. The real world, very different. Like with regards to receipts, with regards to people's understanding of certain terminology, like your break-even point and your SOPs and the KPIs, like all these different terminologies and things that you're using in college, they make it sound like that's your customer that you're going to get coming out of college. And it's not the same thing. It's just like taking Spanish 4 years in high school, and then I go to use it when I worked in construction.
Oh, and it's totally different.
Some of our guys were bilingual.
Yep.
And I'm speaking to them in formal Spanish, and they're looking at me not understanding anything that I'm saying because they speak in a slang or a different dialect than what
Steph,
the formal training
that's
is.
because they were Polish.
Oh, that could have been the problem too. Could have been the problem.
Great point. Hey, that's a great point.
Yes, I should have asked.
I don't know why you
Yeah.
can't understand my Spanish.
Hablo español.
So Linda asked, you kind of answered it a little bit, but Joe, do you think it's a waste of money if you don't use it at all? Your degree, that is.
It's such a double-edged sword because I feel like it gives you like
And Mom, you're right.
it gives you a certain level of respect, air quotes, out in the real world, but
So
like I feel like it's just a different experience for every person. I feel like some people learn a lot in college, really invest a whole lot into it. Like April, who's been on the show, her daughter's in college right now.
Totally.
And she's killing it, and she got accepted into the business program there, and she's really put a lot into it. But she also doesn't have some of the responsibilities and things that I had when I was a college student.
Yeah. Joe, is it a waste of money?
You know?
Okay. Here's the deal. Oh, perfect timing. My wife's calling in. Okay, so you there?
I'm here.
Hey,
Carrie.
can you hear her?
Yeah, she sounds
Yeah,
good.
perfect. Okay, so Care,
Yes.
we're talking waste of money for education, paying for education, and the only thing I wanted to say on this was I knew that I would not get a certain job that paid me X amount of money that was really good. And this is what we were leading into. And I'm glad it came to this point. I had to get a degree, a bachelor's, to get my job.
To marry you.
No. I told them, Care, about I told them how you wouldn't date a loser.
I'm a nasty bitch.
Yeah. So, but either way, I had to get a bachelor's at a university to get into a job that I had to get. Right now, I'm asking you what I asked you.
Okay. So I always say that you pay for an education, whether through tuition or through life. And when we started the company, I said, didn't go to school for restoration or for business. So I am paying dearly through my life experiences, and I'm bleeding out because of them, but I did learn from them. So, I mean, is that what you wanted me to discuss?
Yes.
What could I ask? What area did you get?
Yeah, you need to indulge on what your life experiences and what your past education involves. Because I got a degree, a bachelor's in business administration, right? And that was paid for. That being said, when I walked out of that job, that education, I walked in. Your degree? When I had my degree, I walked into a job
out of my education,
and I literally did nothing with that. Mm-hmm. Right? It wasn't until we actually started this company that I went, ooh. Some of my past life is now coming into play, right? But none of Carrie's past life has come into play.
I don't
as
agree
far
with
as
that.
our
I don't agree with that either. Like,
business.
No, because
I disagree.
Because Carrie, because of her degree, is able to deal with a wide variety of people and their talents and be able to speak to them at a certain level to where she's not offensive in what she says because of her past degree and education. That's my opinion. But
yeah, and I agree with that, Steph. So my bachelor's in fine arts probably didn't get me very far. Get me a lot of education in the restoration or in the business world. But my degree in education and my master's in education absolutely taught me how to handle our employees, our customers, anyone else we're dealing with in a way to make them feel validated and heard and educate them and give them information.
Or your husband.
And my husband, for that matter. Absolutely. What happens when you go to college, away to college, though, is that you learn how to become a pre-adult. Like a preteen would be, you become almost an almost adult, like you're kind of living on your own, you're kind of trying to manage yourself. So that is the education that's what I really got out of going away to school. I wouldn't have gotten that when I was 18 if I stayed home with my parents. I wouldn't have. Yeah, I could have paid them a little rent. I could have done my own laundry.
But you wouldn't have streaked
You weren't streaking in the quad.
Right.
Is what you're saying.
At home.
At home.
I wasn't. I never went back home. I went to school and I never went back home. I mean, I visited my parents. I love my parents, but I never went back home to live.
So
Not
true.
even in the summers.
So true. Yeah. I held your hand the whole way home.
No, you didn't. I made myself.
I love that woman.
You were. I'm talking about when I was 18. You came in when I was like 20, 21.
20. You keep rounding it up to 21, but I don't know if you remember, but I was at your 21st birthday party.
21,
whatever.
Yeah, show day.
Yeah, but then you left me for the summer, so it doesn't count.
I went to the island. And I was working, but listen, whoa. Great point. No. Great point, actually. Is she was going to school and I was out living the experience of working.
You mean living the party lifestyle? Like Joe was pretending to be at college.
Wow.
Joe tried to make it sound good.
Wow. Hey, I was out working.
Yeah, you were partying working and you didn't have a report due by midnight.
So true. But I was working. I was making money.
Steph
So-
almost spit that
Let
out.
me tell you something. Joe's like, I'm going to go to the island for the summer, and I'm going to do it to save money. I can get a new truck. It's going to be great.
You
He
bet.
came back with less money than he started.
So many stories,
No
though.
truck.
So
No
many
truck.
stories,
Did
though.
you get a truck though?
What?
Did he get a truck though?
Eventually he did. Yeah, I think you got a truck shortly after that or right before it. Whatever
Thank
it
you.
was.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Steph
but
is
you
like
got to save
staring
money,
at me.
the
Steph's
balance
staring
there,
at me.
rent.
That's hilarious.
Either way, everything you do in life is an education, right? And you pay for it through experience or through money.
That's-
or through both.
That's really why I wanted you to dial in. Is more the statement of when we
Yes.
all go to get education. How do you get it? Is it experience, or is it paying for tuition? Right. We've all probably done a bit of both, one more than the other,
Yeah.
or maybe equal 50-50,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. But to me, I could tell you I have paid for education on both sides of the realm, right? I've gone to college and I've gone to experience school,
For sure.
right?
The school of life. Yes.
Hard knocks, the school of hard knocks, right?
I think you're always learning life, right? I mean, my son has committed the last 8 years of his life to the Navy, but he's also now getting a quote unquote free education, right?
which he paid for
yeah.
that
Oh, he paid
education.
for it.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he lived the military life. He's still, he's out
Yeah.
in August of next year, but so even though you get a quote unquote free to learn something new, I mean, he paid for it with 9 years of his life.
Right. And now what is he going to do with all that education?
I'm hoping that he moves closer. I'm hoping his plan is to get a job with the Department of Defense.
Okay.
And he'll have by right as he is getting out of his contract with the Navy, he'll be getting his bachelor's from Purdue University.
Nice.
And in fire science. So his goal is he'll be like a captain at a fire station on a military base.
Oh, that's cool. Because I think a lot of people who go and do the military lifestyle come out and their education doesn't apply. The way they learn, the way they actually lived, doesn't apply to real life, civilian life.
It's true.
And that's the struggle for them. There's no like
it's hard to say. I was an infantryman for the last 12 years.
Great.
Yeah.
We're not barreling down
Right.
the Russian border right now.
Correct.
Yeah. That's a hard thing to. Well, so that's kind of where my question is. And Carrie, you can hang up or say goodbye whenever you want to.
I got 2 minutes left.
We really appreciate your
Does he wanna know
opinion.
about Joe? Has he been telling
Nope,
you things?
no, goodbye, Carrie. You're breaking up. I'm kidding. You're still here.
I know.
You
She
really
knows
thought-
all your tricks, Joe.
You really thought she?
No, of course I knew.
But,
God love you.
So, okay, so like starting off at 18 to 21, where we're still in that school age of life, okay?
Mhm.
And you got your books, and you're stuck. You're still in that same similar routine. You get the summer off. You go to school, summer off, school. But now, when you either become an employee, a manager, or an owner, and in order to advance in your career as an actual adult that's been adulting and living outside the home and all of these things, what kind of cost is it that do you feel like that cost is higher when you have now maybe little peoples at the house or a spouse, or you have an actual house that you're doing? Like, what kind of cost value do you put on that versus when you're 18 and kind of most of us would still have our parents' support at that age, or assistance or something? If the shit hit the fan, our parents would be there. Maybe not.
I can
Like
sleep
100%.
in the basement.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you
Right.
have a fail safe or a backup plan or something like that. I feel like as an adult, and when you're a business owner and you're trying to learn something new, whether you're trying to go into a different revenue stream within your same industry, or even just going through the process of doing mergers and acquisitions, like that's like a whole new thing for a lot of people, and myself included, where it takes away from the day-to-day operations of your business or your coaching and development of your team or the client experience. Like there's always something that's going to suffer. And when does that education cost outweigh those other said items?
I mean, it depends how you look at life, right? Like if everything is either a victory or defeat, if everything is other people's faults or is, I didn't get ahead by doing this, then it's always going to be, you're always going to be losing money in the education of life and or in whatever, in business. But if you think of everything as an opportunity to grow from, like a very stoic kind of mindset, then even those stretches, even those growing pains, even that education should be an investment in some way, shape, or form.
Much to Linda's point, do you think it's a waste of money if you don't use it all? No. Right? Like you're always building on yourself. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I just think like Steph, okay, there's a new version of QuickBooks that comes out, let's say, and I'm just making shit up. You can either take the class and pay $299 for it, or you can fuck around with it and figure it out yourself. Either way, you're going to use time. So, which one makes sense to you?
Great point, Ken.
And that's what I want to jump on. Steph said it a little bit earlier. The episode is the cost of learning something new, and the cost is time. I love what Carrie just said. But what is the value of your time?
Hang on, real quick.
Yeah.
Carrie, if you have to jump off, please do
Thank
so.
Jump.
You do?
Love you, Carrie.
Jump.
Bye, Carrie.
Jump. We love you.
Bye.
Yep, love you.
So
Bye.
So as she was talking, she hit it right on. The cost of learning anything new for anybody is time. It takes time to learn something new. The value of your time is what you have to figure out. So as a entrepreneur, a mother, a wife,
value your time.
right?
I have an unhealthy value of my time.
Yes, we already goddamn know this. Oh my God, we know this already.
Like Rich will tell everybody, I have an unhealthy value on my time. But when I'm
okay, I have the same unhealthy value, just at the other end of the spectrum.
So you don't value your time at all?
Nope. Please, I came and lifted a goddamn table out of your garage and was like, no, I'm here. I'm good. I'm out.
Yeah, I can see that with you.
I know I've done it for
That
you.
wasn't learning something new. That was you being.
No, you're right, but that's an unvalued. That's unvalued time, is what I'm saying. Is I don't value my time. Right. Is to your point on that. I don't value my time. No, people go, "Hey, can you do this?" Yep, right, I'm in.
Like
I got it.
My bill rates are all in different categories. Like, I guess number one would be my kids and family. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to give up time with my kids for something for you, it doesn't need to bring me value, but it needs to
give you pleasure.
No, we need to get shit done. Like if you're like, Steph, I really need you to come over and help Carrie and I pack up our house. We're moving. We don't have any help. Like if you called me and you were in an emergency situation and you needed my help, and I took away from going to.
This goddamn clap is going on. It's the clap that lasts forever.
If I took away from going to Eli's soccer practice to go help you in an emergency situation, and I arrive. And it's just beer drinking and pizza sitting around doing nothing, I would kick you in the nuts and go back to the soccer practice. I would be so
hang on,
mad.
wait.
What kind of pizza?
And what kind of beer?
I would be
Wait.
so mad.
My question to you is, if I called you and said, I need you here for your physical, mental, educational, whatever your ability is, I need you here.
Yeah.
You know that I'm not calling you for some bullshit, right?
Right. So if you called me there and I came and it was not,
you're gonna come.
Well, I'm just saying yes, but I'm just saying that we're putting with an O.
Don't tell Rich. Oh, good. Okay, not to you.
No. So if I'm just saying, you're asking me to value my time. My kids and my family, number one, highest bill rate.
100%.
Then I have my business and my team, and then I have my friends, and then I have miscellaneous. So like those
Am I
bill
miscellaneous?
rates, no, but those bill rates and values are different per each sector of the cost of what I would be willing to do.
That's what I'm asking
so
you
like,
is
if I'm going to give up time with my kids, either I better be helping somebody that I find that they are important in my life, or I'm learning something that's going to bring value to us overall as a unit.
You're included because you need to help somebody that is in distress that you know is in distress, or you're going to help somebody because you know you can gain from that.
It's not helping somebody because I could gain. I'm saying if I go to learn something
new,
and
learning is gaining.
Yeah. So if I'm gonna learn something new, that value of learning something new, if I take away from that bill rate of my kids, better exceed the value that I put on that.
I love how you give a dollar amount to your kids.
I'm just saying, like I'm
all right. I'm in. Yo. I'm in 100%.
You can ask Rich, which would also play off.
Fuck off! My kids are worth $1.20. I'm like,
I'm just saying, it would play off to the conversation earlier on 21 6 and Ed of relationships and stuff that they were talking about on the grounds. Like there is just different values that you put on things, and if I'm going to pull away from something that I value a lot, either that value better exceed it or it better not be a waste of my time.
All right, let's jump back into the conversation of education.
Yeah.
If you were to take these values, right? Because I agree with you. If I'm going to go and do something, I'm going to want to take a value out of that is greater than my effort put in. Right? Mm. That's ultimately what you're saying in my mind. Hey, I want to pull education out and I'll put effort in.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I want my education out to be more than my effort in, or at least equal. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Right? I can tell you how many times have I been involved in a event where I'm putting my effort, my physical effort in, but then I know that coming out of it, I'm going to get great relationships. I'm going to build the relationships with the people that I already have. Even though I'm doing nothing new, I'm just simply moving ice or a cooler. Right? Whatever it may be. But I'm building that relationship with the people, right? That to me is education. That to me is learning. That to me is growing what I already have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super, like when I go volunteer at events and things, I'm always interested to see how people run those set events. So this way then, because I run events and run things with my mom and done various things, and I'm always curious to see how other people do it so I could maybe take a nugget from it and the next time I do an event or a mixer or something, I can do that.
That's education based on experience. The paying of you're paying to do the work. Essentially, you're working and that's your pay, right? But you're getting the education. How often do you do that? How often? Okay, now is my question between Kent, pay attention here, sir. Yep, thank you. So between you two, what's your ratio of paying for education versus paying, quote unquote, working for education, right? Because you can pay for your education. That's what Carrie said. And this is what I'm using Carrie's lingo, is you can pay for your education where you pay tuition, or you can pay for your education where you go out and work and you learn on the job, right? So there's paying where you work for your education, or there's paying tuition for your education. So where do you all feel you benefit the most, or where do you feel that it is most beneficial to you?
For me, it's 100% without a doubt always been experience. Like learning from other people.
I'll give you the experience.
Like by me doing trial and error in certain situations or whatever, or me taking time and going to networking events or mixers or roundtables. Like I've learned so much more from doing those activities and talking to real life business owners that have made it out the dark tunnel versus sitting in a classroom and learning certain things. I'm not saying that I didn't get value from the classroom stuff, because I don't want anybody to think that like don't go to college.
Please.
But for me personally, let me rephrase what I said. I will put more effort into the experience things versus the paid sitting in the classroom education.
Now, so when you say that,
because of the fact that I value my time more than the monetary value of what that class costs, I will put more effort in learning something when it's specifically my time associated to it than paying for a class to sit in a classroom and a professor to tell
Interesting.
me.
I have so many questions on this. So first off,
Kent agrees. I feel like
Well, I understand he agrees, but I still have so many questions because your time is your same goddamn time. So why do you value it differently?
It's not. Because out there in the real world and being in the chaos, you're going to learn how to adapt like a chameleon.
Experiences are different, but your time.
It's not, because my time in those real life situations and circumstances are going to make or break me as a individual or a business owner.
So let me let's do this. And I agree with Steph. I have grown up in the 70s. I was what they called. Oh, right there. Okay. I was labeled with what they called he's hyper. Right, which today I believe is ADHD.
I wasn't.
Right,
I was never.
So I'm sure that
I've never labeled that.
So now that I'm an adult, I'm sure that I've got adult ADHD. Right,
I'm not.
Now here's the deal: if I value my time at $100 an hour, and I have to pay $4,000 for a class at college, now I've paid $4,000 plus my $100 an hour. So if it's 8 hours a week, now I'm paying $800 plus a week for that 16-week or whatever, right? So now it's more than
no. You're not an economist. You should bake in your cost into that $4,000.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm just saying. Right?
See, thank you.
So what I'm
never mind.
So what I'm saying is I am a curious guy. I will, if I sat in a classroom for 3 weeks, I'd be like, okay, I'm bored. I've learned enough of this topic as I want to from this cuckoo guy. Okay. And when I went and was ordained in the Episcopal Church as a deacon.
Oh, sorry. Not me.
I had to take a theology class. I learned very quickly that the priest who was doing the theology class didn't care about theology, but his theology. Didn't open a book. And all my papers are written about his personal theology. Guess who got an A in that? I didn't learn anything. I learned how to manipulate the class is what I did, because he just wanted to, right? So to me, I would rather go out and experience, fall on my face, poke things a bunch of times, be curious about it, and learn and gain the education that way. At the same breath, my daughter, who is a clinical psychologist, and she wanted to be ever since she was like in junior high or something. I'm excited that she's got her master's, because if you're sitting with a psychologist, you don't want to be sitting with someone like me.
At least someone that got their diploma.
You know what I'm saying?
I want a master's.
You want Scott Giles and I to screw people up. Hey, we'll be your therapist, right? But that's what I'm saying. Right?
Hey, by our powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
So attorneys, doctors, surgeons. My son-in-law is going to be a surgeon. That's you get a good degree. Go broke getting that degree, because if you're cutting me open, I don't want you to go, oh my God, what's that?
So okay,
like, huh.
So there's
hold on, time out. Let me just
that's kind of what I'm saying.
Google.
That's kind of what I'm saying is like you need to have a certain this is marketing. There are barriers to entry, right? This is marketing 101 or entrepreneurship 101. Yeah. There are barriers to entry, meaning if I want to go start a manufacturing facility, my barriers to entry are about, $5 million, because I have to buy and build a manufacturing facility, right? But if I wanted to start a restoration company or a accounting firm, I could start an accounting firm with $5,000, buy a laptop and a business promo, like business ID and an LLC, and I'm off and running, and I could invest a bit, and within $5,000, I could really have a company that is essentially up and running, not a manufacturing company, right? There's barriers to entry that really play into factor, right? So when it comes to doctors, everybody y'all are talking about that have specific doctorate degrees, those people have a barrier to entry that is their education. And that to me is where we're seeing the difference. But when it comes to businesses, anybody can go and start a bookkeeping business. Not really, but yes, a restoration company.
Yeah, I could start a business, but would it be
successful?
That's different, I guess.
100%. Right. Whatever it is, I can start any business I want. Whether it's a bookkeeping, a restoration, a radio station, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. My business could be started, but what's my education behind that, right? How do I know? How do the people that I'm doing business with know that I am successful, that I am built into what I know, right?
I've said it before. People think it's way more cool and interesting when I tell them, like in a sales call about the radio show, than about my actual.
How many times?
Like accounting degree.
How many times?
I've
been in insurance. I've been a restoration company. Oh, and I do a radio show once a week. What? The radio show?
Yeah, like nobody cares about my accounting degree. Nobody cares about my 20 plus years of accounting experience. Nobody cares about any of that. The second I say radio show, they're like, oh, well, like shit. Like you must know what you're doing if you have a radio show. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Because that translates to.
Thank you.
That translates to accounting for sure.
But that's what I'm asking is this the difference of like, what's your education? Your education is, kind of what you pay for.
It's not just formal education. Like formal education is one thing, and certain careers we require that no matter what. Like there's a non-negotiable
required to be a doctor. You have to get your doctorate.
Right. Like there is a non-negotiable level of paid education for certain things.
Yep.
But I will say
Fair
this.
enough.
The guy that did the surgery on my hip, Dr. Dome, he...
Mr. Dome.
What do you mean? No, he's a
I'm
doctor.
kidding. The guy that did the surgery.
So he did the surgery, but he was also a person that was an innovator within his industry, and he was a young guy. Like young. Like I'm pretty like he's not that old.
How young?
I'm gonna say when
Estimate.
he did my surgery, he had to have been maybe being generous at his early 30s.
I mean, to find
Like
a 5 foot hip.
You know, like he was like, but like he like the brace and everything that I wore. He's the one that designed and developed that brace for after that particular surgery.
This tall on me. I could have called him at least 5 years old.
But you know what? But I'm just saying, like, there's certain people, like, yes, you can do all of the paid education in a specific field and industry, but it's the people that take that and go to the next level with the experience level of education that are going to ultimately make the difference.
Okay, that's my question. Oh, I have a great devil's advocate for you on that.
Okay.
You met this 28, 30, 34-year-old human, right? That was your hip surgeon. And you said, great, you got all this experience. You have all this education that is...
Well, I didn't ask him about anything. I just assumed because he
had a white
was...
jacket on.
Fair enough. That's fair. That's
he had a white jacket
totally
and
fair.
a scalpel,
Totally
and I'm
fair.
like, I'm in.
And
like,
and it looked like he was doink rapidly, and Rich wasn't around.
He said some medical terms. So I figured it was
And I went,
yeah, he could have been speaking Polish. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I didn't understand.
Hey, Mom liked him. Mom liked him. We're in. So
I don't even know if my mom met him.
Oh, she did. Sorry, Mom. That's not true. So if you were to go to that guy now at post the op and whatever and say, oh, here's this young dude, would you ask his experience versus his education now?
He's expanded since like I met him. Like he now has his own practice and his own...
I understand that, but
I'm
at
just
that
saying,
moment,
he's making strides.
you went through it.
Yeah.
Are you asking his experience?
Do I ever ask a doctor that? No. I just assume.
Oh, I always walk up to a doctor. Hello, doc. How experienced are you?
No, I don't ever ask them anything.
Doctor.
I don't think I ever asked a doctor
concur.
really much of anything. Like
you just dive straight in.
All my surgeries,
You just
I'm
dive straight
this
in.
ain't your first one. Oh God, no. This is, I'm like, oh, okay.
No, I feel like if I start asking
I
those
did
questions
7 of them last week. Fantastic.
Really? So
like, if I start asking those questions, I'm gonna go down with a weird...
What about if you're approaching an accountant? All right, now hang on. Let's get out of doctors real quick because we only have a little bit of time left. Let's get out of doctors real quick, right? Like, how often do you approach people and say, "What's your experience?"
If
not
it's
just your education, because most people, as an attorney,
if it's an attorney, I'm asking questions.
As a doctor, attorney, or whatever is needed, you can see their credentials on the wall. They normally have them posted.
If it's an attorney,
right
I'm
up there on the wall.
questions because I'm hiring you for, like, I understand the surgery was of a specific purpose, but I feel like
specific purpose.
The attorney, I don't know, it's like different for me. I will ask a lot of questions to an attorney before a doctor.
So my question is, how often do you ask everybody else about their experience level?
When they come to my house?
It doesn't matter. I don't care what it is.
Probably like never.
Ever.
No. Sometimes I find it to be like offensive when you ask people that.
I think it's not offensive.
I don't know if it's offensive, but
I don't know. The guy was offended when you asked for his name next door, let alone like his experience.
Bro,
as being a
I walked up with a rag do top on. Like, come on, everybody's offended when I show up.
I don't know.
I smell weird.
Good person. That's right. I don't care what your experience
is. I feel like you
really.
Do I think you're going
so you would? So you don't care about? Hang on now. Wait. You don't care about your doctor's experience.
You said not doctors.
Nope.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
I said anybody with experience. let's not talk about
Okay,
the
so,
doctor.
like-
Sure,
No, a
but
surgeon
but-
I'll always ask, I said.
But if you
blah,
no,
Yeah.
so okay, so Joe, so when you're going into the doctor, does it matter to you whether they got their degree at such an like college or this college?
so college,
like
right? A
so
versus
like if
B
they
college.
went to Harvard Medical versus
Mom says she cares.
like DeKalb, like. Are you because DeKalb's known more for their education and getting those
Totally.
degrees and teachers?
Totally.
So, or they went to Harvard
Yes.
Medical School. Like, you're
Yes.
gonna not do work with that doctor if they didn't go to a certain college,
Sort of, yes.
even if they've had enough field experience to offset that.
Oh, I'm not straight look. No. So when you said, am I going to one versus the other based on just college?
Yeah.
No, but sort of. So I'm going to look at the college and then I'm going to dial in based on experience. How many, whatever, 5 minutes left. And then I'm literally dialing in. No, I am literally looking. I just went and figured out a doctor to get my balls cut off. So when I go and do that,
You realize it's not the same, like as
Yeah,
like
it's
when
not
you
your
send
dog.
your dog. It's not. You're not getting neutered.
I'm Bob Barker. Spade or neuter your husband.
You still keep your balls, Joe. You still get the dangling.
well,
bits.
wait.
Here's the best thing. We'll see-
hang
we'll
on.
see-
I'm
we'll-
also
We'll,
hang
we'll
on.
see him hanging off the back of
Hang
Schmody
on. I'm
next
also
week.
getting Lasix. Does that count?
We'll see it on the back of Schmody next
Yep.
week.
Yep. Thank you. Glad you.
All right, what did we learn today, folks? It's where
Yep.
we're at.
Joe's getting his balls cut off.
That's it.
I learned that we need to officially, fully hit play record
Yeah, we
every
have to.
time we walk into the studio
The green room
or
today
a
was
studio
hilarious.
or any green room. It is official because we had the best conversation
We'll start doing that.
within 10, 15 minutes of the show and nobody would know it.
Yeah.
And so that to me is where I think I learned
Those
the
might
most.
just want to come out of sound bites, though.
Those are going to make the new the next year's Steph and Joe
That's
intro
it, yeah.
intro music. Yeah. But either way, all I learned is what is mom? I'm looking.
said-
Mom said I'm looking at a doctor right now, which is very hard to find in AZ, and I'm geared towards the guy that got educated in Illinois. Comments, questions, queries, concerns.
But
I am
my
done.
My mom does way more
I-
research
wait.
on doctors than I do.
Yep.
Wait, are you
Mom,
looking
find
for
the
a
cute
doctor-
one with the small.
Wait, is she
nope,
talking
the
about
big
you?
fingers.
Is she
Mom,
talking about
mom.
you getting your balls chopped off? She's
Well,
looking for you down there.
I hope she's not looking for me
Get them
in
babies
Arizona. But
cauterized
either
on
way,
the cement.
either way, Mom, if you're looking for a doctor, find
True.
one with big fingers for you. I looked for one with small fingers.
Steph, what did you?
I guess I learned that the shows that are aired throughout the day really play well into each other
They do bounce off. each other.
because it was just interesting that you and Scott and Steve were
Steve,
talking this morning about relationships and things and proposals, and the fact that Joe met Carrie and then all of a sudden he took to heart about what she said to him about not wanting to be with a loser, and
I'm not dating a loser.
So I guess
you
it's-
need to go back
the
to college.
things we do
Yeah.
for love was interesting.
Things
How
we
it
do
all
for
kind of
love.
came full circle from the start of the
That
day
is
on
great.
21-6 to the end.
Ah,
full
sex-
circle.
sex
Full
to
circle.
the end.
Here's what I learned, and I'm going to thank Carrie and Steph for this. Is that
Whoa.
the
Whoa.
cost
I
of-
brought Carrie on.
I know the cost of
So
learning.
thank you, me.
The cost of learning something new is the cost is your time. It costs you time, but it's also then you have to put a value on your time.
Time is money.
Yeah,
So therefore,
Yeah.
we all can pay for
Yeah.
education in tuition, or you're going to pay
Experience for-
in
right.
experience, and
And-
experience is time.
and it could take you a longer
And
time.
I
and
tried to
experience.
explain that the entire show.
Yeah.
But you didn't hear it. It just took Carrie to tell
It
you.
did take Carrie.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you,
that,
Carrie.
it's that different frequency in the voice he's used to.
Yeah,
to Alice
got a lot of
saying
women in my
things,
house.
so
You do
then-
too. So
It's just easier.
Hey,
that's it. Listen, we got to run. It's right at the top of the hour. Again, folks, if you love this episode, if you've missed any episodes, go out to Spotify and just search In the Know Steph Joe, and you will get all of that good stuff. And hey, Gabby says, I'm with Carrie, no losers.
Whoa.
There's
always losers.
But the bottom line is, here's what we need you to do. We need you to go out, like, subscribe, share to our Spotify podcast and those stuff. Share it with all of your friends.
No, not just like, subscribe. We need you to share. Tell everybody.
We want the world of podcasting listeners to know that this is the best show out there. So,
F&A Cotton.
For all of us here at 216 Creator Studios, we can't thank you enough for spending a little bit of your Friday with us. And until next time, keep it between the ledgers and out of
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.